Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Create Yourself Imagery, Intimacy, Innovation, a place where people from all walks of life in various backgrounds come to share their transformative personal and professional stories of restoration, confidence, clarity, and empowerment. I'm Joyce Kyles, your global speaker and life and leadership thriving coach. And if you're ready to transition, transform, and thrive, this is the podcast for you. Today's guest is me. So I decided that it would be a good time for me to share a bit about my story, my journey, why Create Yourself was created in the first place. And I figured what better time to do that than during Mental Health Awareness Month, month of May. So first of all, just really appreciative of all of the guests that have said yes to this podcast and understanding the reason behind it. You know, for us, so many of us that have shared our stories here on this podcast up to this point, we've talked a lot about what it means to start over, start again, how to recreate, how to reinvent ourselves, how to transition, how to transform from things, and what is the transformative experience like. So for me, I created Create Yourself because for so long, I have had people who will ask me, how did I start on this journey for speaking and training and presenting and, even more personal things? How did I come to a place of being able to love again after having experienced a bad marriage prior? Just what does transformation look like from a holistic perspective? And so I broke this down into three segments: imagery, intimacy, and innovation, because I had to do some real introspection, do some real, as a good friend of mine often says, growth work, homework, if you will, but we call it growth work. So I'm adopting that from her. And what does it look like for me to grow, change, transition, transform, and ultimately thrive? You know, all of us at some point in time have gone through some type of experience, that it may have been unhealthy. It may have been, due to circumstances that we couldn't control. Perhaps maybe some things that have gone on in our lives have been self-inflicted. But however we got to those places, uh, transition and transformation needed to happen. And then the other side of it too, when it comes to Create Yourself, is that all transitions are not necessarily bad ones. They didn't come from a place of trauma and struggle. You may be successfully working and operating in a particular space, and you've just grown tired or outgrown that space and just wanted to move to another location, maybe another city, another state, maybe even another country. You have been a person who's worked in the corporate sector for 30 years, and that no longer fulfills you. And so you want to take up a whole different hobby that's completely different from what you're accustomed to doing. It doesn't mean that the transition has been a bad one. It just means that it's time to make a change. And there's nothing wrong with change. So whether Create Yourself for you looks like coming out of a bad situation and into a thriving space, or maybe you're already thriving, but things are starting to feel a little lull and you're getting a little bored, and you know what, I want to do something else. I'm in my second season of living, and I just want to explore a different space. And there's nothing wrong with that. So imagining what life can look like when you make a mindset shift to do something different, create the life that you desire and deserve. And that's why I say you can do it at any age. It does not matter. We do not need to limit or define who we are, whose we are, what we do it, how we go about it, and allow it an age or societal norms to prohibit us from living our best life. So that is where Create Yourself came from. And not just giving you information to help you to feel good, to feel good in the moment and for you to be inspired, but I also want you to be informed So when you're listening to the different guests on the podcast, they're giving you tangible tools and tips that you can use to get started on a new path. Of course, we want you to leave feeling inspired and educated, but we really want you to be informed to know that, yes, you can do what it is that you desire to do, and do not allow yourself to be defined by anything that society may say is abnormal, and to get out of your own head and out of your own way. That self-love is how I got to a place of trusting someone else into my space so that I could find love again with a partner that I love and care for dearly. And I know that reciprocity exists with us. And being innovative and realizing that, yeah, there's job loss, there is job, things with funding and or lack thereof, there are budget cuts and all the things, but how can you create a different narrative and create a new narrative, a new norm for yourself from a financial perspective? Or maybe the innovation needs to be, I've got this great idea on how to move forward with a particular project in my life, that I want to see something different. I want to do something different. I want to explore something different. And that might not have been something that's been done before. So you be the innovative voice. You be that innovator that says, let me take what I have learned. Let me use my experiences. And how can I create something new, something different, something fun, something engaging, something that's going to be transformative? When we look at ourselves, imagery is not just about what we see aesthetically, what we see in the mirror, but what we envision for ourselves and how we view ourselves holistically. And so I really wanted this podcast to be all about how we see ourselves, how we love ourselves, how we're showing up for others, how do we see others, how can we be innovative in the projects and things that we want to do, and how can we encourage and inspire and engage someone else to fully pursue their innovation. That's really it. I want people to transition, transform, and thrive. And I want us to do that together. So continue to tune in to the podcast each and every week. I am so excited about the guests that I have already interviewed, and I have so many more that I cannot wait for you to hear from. So I encourage you to listen on all platforms where podcasts are heard, because we are everywhere. My primary focus has been around YouTube because I'm really wanting to grow that channel in that space. But any place that you hear us, you are more than welcome to tune in, take in, reach out. If you want to be a guest yourself, let me know. Reach out to me. My information is in the bio that I share every week of everyone else. So my information is in that same space for me, but you can certainly reach out to me at joyce@joycekiles.com. Visit my website at joycekiles.com. And I am on all social media platforms, with LinkedIn being my favorite. So that is all that I have for today. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I want to thank me for having the courage to pursue this particular podcasting space in this way. And I could not do this without the help and support of listeners. So thank you for tuning in each and every week. Thank you for sharing it. And until next time, go forward and create the life you desire and deserve. And remember, you can do that at any age. Let's continue to transition, transform, and thrive together.